Since James hasn't been well enough to go for a deck dinner at my place, I brought a deck dinner to him. So the top of the stack, Beau is Afraid. And then the Black String, Blood. First series 2, I put that ahead of the first. And then Gretyl and Hansel, Tammy and the Bachelor, Tammy Tell Me True, and Tammy and the Doctor. Gold Digger, Can You Ever Forgive Me, Dark Waters, The Gulf, and Empire of Light. And James is having a stew with some grapes and stuff. And we'll see how this goes. Oh, this is kind of different. And I'll sit down to do this. So, did you sleep well, James?
Yeah.
That's good. There you go.
I phoned them well in advance.
Oh, good. So they didn't have a problem with that.
They said they'd be booked.
Okay.
That's good.
Well, there you go.
They've got my message. I phoned right after they opened. And when I phoned an hour later, they answered the phone right away. And they were all ready, all that sort of stuff. So I'd given them plenty of advance notice.
So this one might still be a little bit frozen. There's that one, if you want some bread right now. But it shouldn't take long for the other one to thaw. It's not that cool out here anymore. It sure was cool this morning.
It got cool inside.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's not that good. Anyway,
Beau is Afraid. So this one was awfully long. I don't know if I can see 2 hours 59 minutes. So yeah, it felt like 3 hours. But honestly, it was really interesting, and there were some good actors in here. I mean, you saw some full frontal, and you saw a great big pretend penis and with arms. So this isn't for children. But and I thought it was awesome how Joaquin Phoenix, how he was playing somebody who was just so terrified. He was in a state of panic all the time, and he did it really convincingly. So I don't know if it would have been as good had anybody else been the guy. But anyway, it's a mind thing. So if you like that sort of movie, then you'll like Beau is Afraid, and I did. I didn't like the ending so much, but I thought it sort of, it was a little bit anticlimactic. Climactic. I'm sorry. The Black String with Frankie Muniz. I have reviewed this before, and I like him as an actor, and when I used to watch him on Malcolm in the Middle, and then nothing really happened with his career, and the guy who played his father in Malcolm in the Middle, well, he got huge, right, and deservedly so. He's an awesome actor, and he was the best one on the show. But I like seeing this guy too, and it's kind of an interesting idea for a movie and whatever. I think I've reviewed it before, but I mean, it got put ahead of all of these other ones. So, Blood Series 2. Now, both of these series, they deal with the same family. And I put the second one ahead of the first one, but they were both interesting. And they're series put out by Acorn TV, which I've talked about Acorn in the past, and I'm not really a huge fan. But this worked okay. It's suspenseful, and anyway. Gretyl and Hansel. This one seemed like an indie sort of film, and honestly, when I first started watching it, I'm like, it's supposed to be set back and whatever, but here this woman with short hair, not believable. And So I'm watching it at first, I'm like, and eventually I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I don't know. What do you want? It's a different kind of telling of the story, and I thought they did an okay job. Tammy and the Bachelor. That one I rated higher than the other ones. It's funny because that one had Leslie Nielsen in it, and I had never seen him as a young actor. I only saw him, when he was in the airplane and whatever. So, all the movies he was in, I don't remember. What was he in? I don't know. But anyway, lots of stuff like that. I don't know, but I only saw him old in any case. And then, so it was interesting. I'm watching for a long time. I'm like, I recognize that guy, and oh yeah, that's who he is.
Where is he?
Well, he's that guy.
He's a handsome guy.
Yeah, he was a handsome guy. Anyway, and that one, it's funny because this triple feature, it has all three movies on here, and the first one, they had Debbie Reynolds playing Tammy. And in the picture on the cover here, she looks like she could be young.
Yeah.
But she really didn't look that young in the movie. And in most of her scenes, she didn't look that young. She looked small. So you're kind of like, oh, okay, I can go along with it, whatever. But I still think that that one's better, even though they went with somebody else for the other two, the next two. They went for Sandra Dee, who both Debbie Reynolds and Sandra Dee had lovely voices. So basically, these three movies were they were sort of like a music video, really, because they're wrapped around one song. That that Tammy keeps singing. She falls in love and she sings this song, right? And so, really, they managed to sell these three movies on one song, which is amazing. Now, the song was good. I liked it, but I thought it was kind of weird when Tammy was singing about herself as Tammy's fallen in love or whatever. I can't remember the words because it's been a while since I watched this one. I think it was one of the first ones I watched out of this stack, but yeah, it was Tammy's in love. Anyway, so it's kind of weird her singing that because I thought, okay, well, there's somebody listening to her every time. They could have just, it's too bad that they didn't have the other person jump in and say, Tammy's in love. Like, all they had to do was just make the other person listening in the scene say that, and it would have been better. So,
Peter Fonda singing.
Well, yeah, whatever. I mean, he was one of the ones, when she was singing that, I think he was the one there who was listening to that, so he could have sang it, whatever.
Yeah.
But in the second one, it was John Gavin, so she's fallen in love a few times, because young women do, they don't know exactly who they're going to be with yet. But as much as Sandra Dee seemed believable as a young lady, and all that, I still like Debbie Reynolds better. She was a better actress. She did a better job.
Yeah.
So I wish that they would have kept Debbie Reynolds, actually, instead of moving to
Dee was more of a pop singer.
Oh, is that what? Well, Debbie Reynolds had a nice voice too, though. I mean, she sang the song nicely.
Debbie was all round with makeup. So,
yeah.
Good actor.
So I don't know why they switched. I really don't.
It might have been money. It's hard to say. It's hilarious looking at Peter Fonda with him playing cunt before Easy Rider.
Yeah.
And actually probably before the Beatles. So,
well, I had a hard time I put these ones ahead of this, and I'm like, I don't know, because I might want to watch these again, whereas with these ones, I won't want to watch them again. I'll probably want to watch Beau's Afraid many times. So that's not true exactly, but I don't know about the other ones, and I was thinking, well, yeah, it's sort of cheesy, whatever, but I like it. And so I probably will watch it again. And so I was thinking, how can I possibly put this this far down? I don't know where to rate this, but...
It looks as though it's before Peter Fonda got ruined by dope.
Yeah.
Like the Beatles.
Oh, he looks handsome there.
Yeah, the Beatles actually knew him in 1966.
Oh.
also one of the Beatles' best songs was off the Revolver album, and it goes, she said, I know what it's like to be dead.
Oh yeah, I love that song.
I know what it is to be sad. To making me feel like I've never been born. It wasn't she, it was he.
Oh, and it was about him.
Peter found out he doped to the gills, I guess, of he was having a bad trip.
Yeah.
And it's funny how people have this idea that the Beatles were out there selling, heavy dope and stuff like that. They were pretty honest about it, like you could tell when Lennon is getting hooked on heroin. I'm going down to the bits that I left out. Going down. Another superior jumper. It's not fun. That one's about getting hooked on heroin. It's not fun. And that's like 68. And I don't have to tell you that even though it's just about LSD, that she said is not fun.
Yeah.
Lennon was saying, she's making me feel like I've never been born. And generally the Beatles were honest about things like drugs and so on and so forth. And really, they got hooked onto the Maharishi, and then after, the Maharishi would have been against drugs. That's in 67. Had all these stupid kids, doped up to the gills, thinking the Beatles were giving them some crazy message. And they weren't really listening very hard. It's the same sort of thing with revolution. They say you want to have revolution. Well, they all want to change the world. All that sort of stuff. It's anti-revolution stuff. It's very obvious. They're carrying in pictures of Chairman Mao, you ain't going to make it anything. But, I don't know. There was a lot of stupidity back then. And he was kind of served as a lightning rod. And people weren't understanding. So really stupid. It was a stupid era. And the funny thing is, it needn't have been. Dope. Just crazy. And revolution, that sort of stuff, stupid stuff. The combination was just poison. They're still idiots who got off on that are still, even though they graduated from university.
Anyway.
The message still is marching on.
So, Gold Digger. It says on the cover, sinister romantic thriller. Not a thriller, not really sinister. I don't know. It's a story about an abusive woman who finds a young man that she falls in love with. And, I mean, she's really beautiful. She's turning 60, but she doesn't look it. And he's a handsome young man, whatever, but they're, the family is all against it, whatever. Honestly, it was an okay drama. I would say it was just a drama. I'm just not into dramas, so it was probably as interesting as watching Dallas. And It's another acorn thing. It just wasn't as good as the other one. Now, Can You Ever Forgive Me? This was more enjoyable to watch than a couple of the other things that I've already talked about, but that was only because they managed to score Melissa McCarthy and what's his name? Why can't I think of his name right now? I'll just have to find it on the case. Richard E. Grant. I don't know why I couldn't think of it. And they were awesome together. They really worked together well. But the story, honestly, it wasn't interesting enough for if it hadn't been for those actors, it wouldn't have been watchable. The actors made it entirely. Now, I guess it's interesting enough to know about the fact that this happened. So this is based on a true story. So, but a lot of things that are just because we should know about it, maybe making a movie about it isn't the best way to get people to know about it or whatever. But I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I guess this woman had Lee Israel. She was a best-selling author in the 70s and 80s, and then she wasn't able to sell her stuff, and she wasn't a nice person. I mean, there were some funny things, like when she was talking to her super about, yeah, can you get somebody to control the pests because there's some flies in my apartment, and this and that, and then later on you see why. And so that was kind of funny. But honestly, they were both awful people. The characters that were played in this were terrible. So, I don't know. I mean, they tried to make light of it and whatever, but anyway. Dark Water. This was inspired by a shocking true story, it says. And the thing is I'd heard about this. I'd watched documentaries about this, which were better to watch. This and this goes with the same sort of thing that I was talking about in the last one. Sometimes this is very important. This less important to know about than this true story. But because of these actors, it worked better. It's not that they didn't get good actors in this. I liked Mark Ruffalo, or however you pronounce his name, and there's somebody else in this too that I liked. Anne Hathaway. She's good too. But it was about the Teflon thing. You remember watching documentaries about the Teflon being found in the water and stuff like that?
Where?
In Virginia or something.
Yeah, fun time.
Yeah, fun times. So apparently they said in this movie, I think you'll have to read the little bits at the end, which that was my favorite part of the movie, reading the things at the end. They said that Teflon's in everything on the planet now. Horrible. Anyway. So, I mean, you gotta think, oh, well, I have these health problems. Could it be that my hormones are disrupted by this in some way? And this is why or whatever, right? You gotta wonder. This can't be good. You gotta think about this. Anyway, so as much as, yes, it's important to know about, I don't think that it worked as a movie. There was a lot of unbelievable dialogue between people to try to fill the audience in on what was happening. It was very poorly scripted that way. Honestly, it made it almost unwatchable for me, and I'm interested in this sort of stuff. So, The Gulf. Now, this one's a detective sort of show, so if you're into the police dramas, then you might be interested in this. It was set in New Zealand, if I remember correctly. Maybe Australia, I can't remember. So if you like that sort of scenery, You might be interested in this. Oh yeah, New Zealand. Okay, there you go. Waiheke Island, which I've never heard of. But yeah, it was lovely enough. As far as police dramas went, this was not my favorite. That's all. I didn't think it was that good. And this one got the bottom of the stack, and I thought it was going to get the top. Empire of Light, but it was, frankly, it was unwatchable. There were some good actors in there, including yeah, I don't, yeah, yeah, he was in it. Oh, I should look at the cover. Anyway, but basically it's about, it's a racial sort of movie, which, whatever, and it's set in the early 1980s, about a movie theater in an English coastal town, and honestly, I didn't find it really that believable, and nor did I care. And for a movie that's supposed to make you care about things like this, it says a lot that I didn't, right? So anyway, there was one point in the movie that I just went, well, they were trying to not only talk about race, but also mental health issues and stuff like that too. And sexism and like inappropriate behavior with, bosses with their workers and all this sort of thing. So they were trying to talk about a whole bunch of things, and they didn't really talk about any one of those issues well. And certainly not well enough for a movie, not well enough to warrant these actors that they managed to get for it. And there was one point that I was like, this is ridiculous, at the end, or near the end, when they managed to, they're watching, or, well, the one woman anyway, she's watching Being There, a scene from Being There, like right at the end where he puts the umbrella down and stuff. And I thought, man, that is really low rent to put like one of the best movies ever made, feature a scene from it in your crappy movie, to try to make it more relevant or saleable or whatever. It was garbage. This movie was garbage. So anyway, do you have anything to talk about? So, I'm glad I got you out to
Get some more.
another day. Yeah. So yeah, I will end up watching Beau is Afraid again. It's awesome.